Cluxton played later on in the championship. Big day for Tom Cribben there alongside Emmett MacDonald, his assistant. So away we go. Huge task facing Westmeath in particular. And we'll just have to see what happens and what develops here. And straight away it is Brian Fenton who gets his hands on the ball down as far as Con O'Callaghan, this prodigious young talent, just 20 years of age. What a season he's had. And that will be a wonderful start. Inside 20 seconds. Great opening for Dublin, and it is Con O'Callaghan who gets his 4th ever championship score. Really good opening for Dublin.
Fantastic score there by Con. You know, a lot of word about him this last year or so, but there's a lot of space in that Westmeath defence, so you know it's quite easy for him to get the ball in there at the minute.
Pressure immediately on, the kick out from Westmeath, and straight away it is Niall Scully. Scully has a chance. Great block down, brilliantly done by Cillian Daly. Oh, preventing a near certain goal. Scully still down on his hunkers there. That was some block. What an opening, though. Tremendous defending here by the Mullingar Shamrocks man. Got down, very courageous. Look at this for the timing. Watch him, brilliantly done.
Fantastic, Jared. You know, we've put his head in the line there. A certain goal, and that's not what Dublin wanted at the minute.
At the other end, it's John Heslin popping it over the bar. Good reply. Well, there could be a goal and a point behind it. Instead, it's a point apiece here. And that will do Westmeath no end of good. Kick out here as far as Eric Lowndes, starting on the right-hand side. Plenty of mobility and movement, of course. Darren Daly is expected in and around the half-back line here. Good to see him get a run out, his 16th championship match for the Dubs. Johnny Cooper held on to well here by the point scorer a little while ago. O'Callaghan back into Fenton. And the referee has got to bring the ball back for a foul there. Didn't see an advantage accruing to Dublin.
I think credit to Westmeath, Jared. You know, they're not as defensive as they have been last year and the year before. There is space in there, but I think they're going to have a go today, which is good.
Well, they said they would try, but it's a twin-edged sword, of course. Leave yourself wide open at the back, and you know what's likely to happen. Paddy Andrews, his first of the day. Dublin back into the lead again.
That's the danger when you leave the space. You know, they have accurate forwards inside, but I think today Westmeath must decide, you know, just to really have a go and test themselves. They know it's going to be a big ask to beat Dublin, but you have to see where you're at. Good
catch, and then it's lost by Eoghan, and Dublin have it back again, and they show very, very good attitude early on. McCarthy back in here once again towards Scully. Well defended. Really good cleared here by Callum McCormack, who started as a sweeper last year, and I think he's probably going to play a similar role here today, would appear. And the referee bringing the ball in. It'll be a free kick for Westmeath, which Paul Sharry will take. Picking out his captain, Eoghan. Back to Sharry again. Played forward. Once again, John Heslin. Well, their approach work is good up to a certain point, and then they run into a maze. Plenty of Dublin backs there, and that foul is by Sharry, just as the Dublin player Paul Mannion was preparing to pick the ball up.
Yeah, it's just a little ponderous, you know. Hasn't had the ball. There's very little options inside, and you know, in the end, he was just smothered out. I'm just looking inside here. Niall Scully's playing up there. You know, he's changed. Darren Daly came in. Niall's a fantastic forward. He's played most of his football at wing back this year, but just keep an eye on him for his lightning quick.
John Heslin at the receiving end of the talk here from referee Conor Lane. Very early to be getting a card. He's got a yellow card inside the opening 5 minutes. Early problems for him. Mick Fitzsimons here, player who had that wonderful All-Ireland final replay last September. Back into Ciaran O'Sullivan. Dean Rock, first touch for him. Cross here as far as Darren Daly once again. Receiving it back from Ciaran Kilkenny. And a familiar pattern just beginning to emerge early on here. Dublin dominance, moving forward, wave after wave of attack. Switching the ball around cleverly. Fenton going down. Free kick to Dublin. Gets up smartly. Alan Gohan, the one who put in the shoulder, which was mistimed. Eoghan from Athlone, who was called into the Westmeath team for the replay against Offaly last week. You should remember, that this Westmeath team is playing 3 Sundays or 3 weekends in a row now. Tough enough ask for them. Dean Rock has this free on the edge of the D, so 25 metres out or so. Poses no problems. Gets away to a good start, and Dublin already 3-1 up.
Yeah, great start for Dublin. Westmeath had bodies back there, Ger, but you know, it's a question of what are they doing. You know, the wrong man came in and gave away a silly foul. You can't do that against Dublin, because you know you have to try and limit their score chances.
And the kick out went straight towards Dublin players who were there in numbers. Daly storming forward, hoping now that it'll be a free kick, and it is. Last man up there, Niall Scully. Well, I wonder if they're going to persist with that. Darren Quinn just booting it out old-fashioned style into the middle of the park, not just between the 8s and the 9s, but between everybody else as well. And Dublin simply crowded that area and won it rather easily. John Eoghan scored a goal after coming on against Offaly last week. Carried forward here by Kevin Maguire. Jamie Gunnewd. Back towards Callum McCormack once again. Strongly built player, one of the scorers in last year's Leinster final when they got 10 points. Paul Sharry. Back out once again towards Ciaran Martin on a ground where he scored 2 goals and 3 points against Meath in a Leinster semi-final 2 years ago. Killian Daly made that wonderful block a little while ago. Here's a scoring chance up into the air by Alan Eoghan. Doesn't come in, however.
Yeah, we speak about how impressive Dublin are going forward. In that attack there, they've every single player inside their own 45. Their defensive structure is highly impressive, and it's clearly something they're working on.
Well, they've been doing an awful lot right. Cian O'Sullivan. Picked up here by Mannion with those yellow boots, taking on Gunnewd. Back into Paddy Andrews. He's already got 1 point alongside his name, but that time 2 men on him. Taken out by Daly, and Killian Daly suddenly spotting a little gap here and prepares to go forward in towards David Lynch, one of the 3 late substitutes. Eoghan, Lynch and Eoghan. That's John Eoghan getting late call-ups for Tom Cribben's team. Callum McCormack down into the corner this time. Over goes Ciaran Martin, taking on Fitzsimons. Back in towards Dolan. That's James Dolan. Final shot again by Martin, beautifully over the bar. Ciaran Martin there, involved twice in that move. Did a little 1-2 with James Dolan. Confidently took the return and beautifully slotted over. 3-2.
Fantastic scores. That came from a long ball, and I would like to see the Westmeath try more with the direct ball, because if you ponder, you know, Dublin are going to get back and it's going to hard to get scores in.
Niall Scully has had a very, very good year so far, built on the progress he made in the O'Byrne Cup under then manager Paul Clark during January, when the rest of the Dublin squad were away on their holidays. And he's built incrementally on that. Ciaran Kilkenny. Over here as far as Eric Lowndes. Another player who's got a lot of match time this year. Done well down towards Rock. More a permanent fixture than ever now in that Dublin starting 15. Jack McCaffrey trying to make up for lost time. Back into Con O'Callaghan, who's got time on his side, only 20 years of age, steadies himself beautifully. That one is inside the right hand upright, his second point.
Great score by Con again. You know, Dublin have massive forwards, and this young lad stepping up this year. Like we said, there's a lot of talk about him. That's 2 fantastic scores to start the day.
And he's got a strong Westmeath background as well, Con O'Callaghan. His dad Morris hurled with Westmeath. Indeed, his grandfather, Dinny, was former chairman of the Westmeath County Board back in the 60s. Here's Killian Daly, man who made the fabulous block from Niall Scully, a near certain goal prevented much earlier in the game. Now requiring some attention. Kevin O'Connor, the physio, in to attend to him. Well, they'll be hoping that he could regain the full of his health. Went down brilliantly. His timing was magnificent.
You can't say, Ger, so far, you know, Westmeath are doing okay. they've got numbers back, but they're not ultra defensive, you know, so it gives them a chance to attack when they won the ball. But you know, Heston's inside, Martin's inside. If they maybe offer a little more direct ball, you know, it might make things a little easier on them.
Well, Tom Cribben and his side won promotion from Division 4 earlier on this year, with Killian Daly in their ranks, and he's back to the full of his health, I hope. Darren Quinn preparing to kick this out. Once again into the middle of the park it goes. And once more Dublin batted back down. But this time, responding quickest of all was Kevin Maguire. Now Eoghan. Loose player ahead of him here. Able to take off, and that is James Dolan. Dolan having to check his stride. Back towards Eoghan again. Fisting it forward to the corner here. Kicked by John Eoghan, and Egan's got it in. Very good point by John Eoghan. Well, the two Eogans were involved that time. Ger from Tyrrell's Pass and John from Athlone, the one who applies the finish, and it's 4-3.
Again, Ger, that came from the long kick out. It's clear that this is something that they're going to do. They don't want to take kick short because you have to, you know, you have massive bodies to work through, so the long kick is working for them.
Now Scully taking this free kick quickly in as far as Brian Fenton. James McCarthy wearing number 9, starting in the middle of the park as well. It'll be interesting to see if he is going to be the partner for Fenton during this championship season. Paddy Andrews, hoping it'll be a long and productive season once again. Well blocked out that time, and Westmeath able to bring that ball away through Callum McCormack. Well, he's not in the role that he was in last year, which was very much as a part of a double sweeper. He's much more advanced down along that left-hand side of the field this year. Alan Gohan now, strongly built man. A strong rugby background as well. Down into the corner to Ciaran Martin. Got one of the points already, almost stepping out over the end line. Martin holds it up well. An impossible angle, but he's got it, I think. He's got a second. Teams are level. 12 minutes gone.
Fantastic score again, you know, double mark there, Johnny Cooper and Fitzsimons, but he had the strength and composure to stick it over the bar. They're getting joy in there, Ger, if they get the ball in early enough. You know, I'd like to see more of that.
What is this telling us about the Dublin full back line today, I wonder? We'll have to wait and see. Westmeath players were at pains to say during the past week that they want to do better than they've done in the last 2 years, which is be competitive for the first half of the game. Long way to go. Paul Mannion trying to stick this one over the bar, and he succeeds. Lovely, elegant play by Paul Mannion. Always shows quality in abundance. Stood up here, just held the ball, took his time, planted it over the crossbar. 5-4. Once again the ball is picked up. They're just not doing well with their own kickouts, Westmeath, and there's a pattern there. It's just a regular pattern with players like Eric Lowndes making progress. Back into O'Callaghan. Goalkeeper does well, but they're not out of danger just yet. O'Callaghan, second phase, back to Kilkenny, shouldered by Daly, back towards Eric Lowndes. Well, it was a near thing. McCaffrey. Fenton spreads it again. Once more it's Paddy Andrews darting forward. He'll take the point. The point is on, and he gets it. Second for Andrews.
Great score by Paddy. There was a great goal chance there for young O'Callaghan. He's causing terrible problems in there, Ger, this early on, so it might be a chance to look at a change in there in the Westmeath full back line.
Well, this was that block by the goalkeeper. Did well. 2 goal attempts early on for Dublin in this match. Once again, the long kick out. Surely Westmeath are going to have to change that kick out policy. It's just not working. Brian Fenton. Fenton again, referee has an advantage. It's Scully, denied a goal earlier on. Back it comes, another good block. And this time it's Dean Rock who's run out of space, and it was Frank Boyle who was coming across to deny him. It's got to be a 45. That goal is under siege, and some of it is of their own making.
Yeah, you know, they're giving the ball away, but credit to the defence, Ger. They're doing great. You know, they're defending manfully. It's just when Dublin get a run on them and they overlap, they're causing the problems.
I was talking to you about that lovely new TV programme that's on RT1 on Mondays, GAA NUA, Darrow Canadia's programme. He was talking with Marty Clark about the kickouts, and Marty was saying when he was in Australia, the players down there were fascinated by the fact that in Gaelic the goalkeepers were kicking it out into the middle of the field and pretty much giving away their own advantage from the restart.
Yeah, that's a big debate at the minute. The last 3 kickouts from Westmeath, have been all turned over by Dublin, and you're putting yourself in serious pressure, especially against Dublin with the kind of running players that they have.
Dean Rock's got 1 pointed free already. This is his first 45 now. Again, sweeps it confidently up and over, rarely misses. It's 7-4, and that is the way it's gone so far. 4 out of 4 from the kickouts, all won by Dublin.
Again, Gerard, they're gone long again, and Dublin's right on the break.
This time they've left it behind, however, because James McCarthy wasn't able to hold on to it, and it's Paul Sharry now who can carry it forward. He needs to get into the game a little bit more. He's a player who can dominate. Forward here for Heslin, not an easy ball for him to take. Spills out towards John Eoghan. Eoghan trying to hold. Dublin surround him, and away comes McCaffrey, snatching that ball, getting it out to Cooper. And the Dubs in full flow once again, leading, as you can see, by 7 points to 4. And this Leinster football semi-final, live from Croke Park on the Sunday game. Foul and free kick to be taken by Eoghan from Tyrrell's pass in Westmeath. Down into the corner, he spotted that Ciaran Martin was unmarked. His marker had given him a little bit of space. It's close, but not quite close enough. And that is just the first wide of this match. That's amazing. We've played 16 and a half minutes. Teams have shared 11 points. Dubs by 3. Con O'Callaghan. Reaching down to pick this one up is Paddy Andrews, and then his marker comes in, collides with him. Man picking himself up at the end was Alan Eoghan. Free kick in as far as Kilkenny. Gets enough space. That's all he needs.
Pass the score there by Ciaran. Just they're finding small pockets of space just around the D. I know Westmeath, they one sweeper back, but really that's the area you have to close off. You can give space out in the wings, but just not around that D. And it's just too easy for Ciaran Kilkenny.
5 Dublin forwards have now scored in this match. Niall Scully wearing number 5, but playing as a forward, the only one denied so far. And he went close with a goal attempt. That's another very bad kick out. They're having problems. Well, it's something you would have imagined that they would have anticipated. Johnny Cooper. Now McCarthy driving forward. Scully wanted it. McCarthy holding too long, in two minds, lost it. Eoghan to take this free kick. Bounces kindly and obligingly in for Alan Eoghan. Now Frank Boyle. 30 years of age now, Frank. Given an awful lot of experience to Westmeath teams over the years. Turned back towards Eoghan again. This is Jamie Gunood from Tyrrell's pass. Once won the tidiest town in Ireland back in 1969. Here's Mark McCallum. Ball given away on the half-forward line. And it's Mannion in quickly. You get a little look around now just to give the easy, sensible ball. Kilkenny.
Dublin are happy to let Westmeath come to a certain point, Gerard, and then they just strip them of possession. And they're not even in a hurry to get forward. They're composing the ball. They're just posing, probing, waiting for the right man.
Kilkenny issuing instructions to McCaffrey. McCaffrey went one way. Kilkenny was expecting to get perhaps a free kick there. Finally, it's Mannion. Drops nicely for Darren Daly. Fenton. Dublin by 4. Andrews to try and make it even worse from a Westmeath point of view. Well, that is just their first wide. They've been very, very accurate so far from so many attempts.
Again, Gerard, they're patient in their build-up. They're just waiting for the right option all the time. Andrews was slightly off there, but I think they're in preparation for teams down the line. Your Tyrones, your Monaghan's, your Donegals, who will be defensive. They have to learn to break it down. I think that's what they're doing today. Goalkeeper
again just kicks it out into the middle where there are 4 Dubs, 1 Westmeath player. That one Westmeath player, Alan Eoghan, hadn't a chance of getting that. Again, it's Brian Fenton. More target practice. So he gets into the scoring act as well, and it's already 9-4. Had been promising earlier on, but not any longer.
Seems to have diffed a wee bit in the last 5-10 minutes from Westmeath. You know, they started brightly, a lot of intensity, but the last maybe 5 minutes or so they've just gone out of the game a wee bit.
Well, Dublin have got about 3 points in the last 5 minutes. Westmeath nothing. Paul Sharry able to pull the strings. Eoghan. Now from here, can they make some progress? It's a good ball. There's nobody marking John Eoghan, and he's nailed another one. Brilliant kick by Eoghan, but nobody on him.
Fantastic score, but just as interesting, Gerald, Dublin are happy to give it to you out there. You know, they don't want to come down the centre. They were well set up in the centre, and they're probably playing percentages there, as in, you know, the chances of getting scores out there are very slim.
McCaffrey, or rather McCarthy, Cooper, Brian Fenton. Once again, Ciaran Kilkenny. Escaping the clutches that time of John Eoghan. Still Kilkenny. Scully back towards James McCarthy once again. Jack McCaffrey, we know he's got pace. That time another very good block, and across came Kieran Martin and Alan Eoghan. I think it was Eoghan who eventually got the hands in.
Terrific to see, Joe. That's 3 fantastic blocks in the Westmeath defence.
Well, all of them absolutely needed, Kevin. They've had a couple of goal attempts. Dublin doing as they will by and large, as expected. 4 between them.
Just dangerous, you know, Joe, they're just starting to edge in front, you know, which is dangerous for Westmeath. They need a score to get them back into the game. Heslin's, Kieran Martin standing up there himself at the minute. I'd like to see maybe Heslin and Sherry push on for 5 or 10 minutes to see if they can trouble that Dublin defence.
The breeze today, by the way, probably blowing from left to right as Dean Rock faces up to this second 45. He pointed the last one. So midway through this first half, hoping for similar return. 3 from 3. First from a conventional free, then 2 45s, and now it's 10-5 to Dublin. He's a beautiful kicker of the ball, Dean Rock. Really established himself in this team at this stage. 3 Westmeath players go for this one, but it's won by Dublin again, and their success on the Westmeath kickouts is phenomenal. Fenton advancing with menace and purpose, pursued vigorously by Mark McCallan, who did really well. Gets his team out of a hole that time. Alan Eoghan leaving it out as far as Callum McCormack. Back from Eoghan. The Sharry's gone very, very deep. Here's John Eoghan, brought forward here with pace. Jamie Goodnood. Kevin Maguire forsaking his full-back position, giving it back to James Dolan. And Westmeath found something that Jimmy will be able to sling it over the bar. Back towards Sharry again. Once the left back with Shamrock Rovers in the League of Ireland. Jamie Goodnood. Eoghan. Mark McCallan once again. Final kick is by McCormack, and that ball has gone away on the left-hand side, on his near side.
Again, Jared, the 15 Dublin players inside their own 45. You know, Westmeath are just too slow in coming forward, allowing the Dublin players a chance to filter back. When you have big men like Heslin inside, you need to let it in early.
It's left in as far as Mannion this time. All too easy for them, really. Second time they've played against a side who've spent the spring playing in Division 4. And that's another one that's gone beautifully over the bar. A third for Con O'Callaghan. Getting space, no pressure on the kicker. It's 11-5.
again, it's just those wee pockets of space, and I think Conor Callahan's in his second mark already today, so it's a fantastic start for the young lad.
1 point in 10 minutes for Westmeath. Brian Fenton again here. Johnny Cooper fancies getting a score or two. He has scored twice in the past for Dublin. Today playing in his 27th championship match. Frank Boyle taking it out initially, now Ganood. Well, the kick-outs won so far. Westmeath have only won 2 of their own.
I think, Ger, this is where you're looking for your leaders. Somebody has to tell the keeper to change that. There's 4 in a row went out there, Dublin turned them over, so they have to control this on the field themselves.
Well, they've been playing at a slower pace as well, it must be pointed out, in Division 4. Ciaran Kilkenny. They've been playing at a much more hectic pace. And it's looking dangerous. Oh! He's put it wide, Kilkenny. That's amazing. What a miss.
Yeah, straight through. He probably had a chance to slip it here. I think it was Niall Scully coming through. Maybe, if he just slipped it to Niall there, it's a tap-in, but he went for glory himself.
Well, they've scored 11 points. They could have had 2 goals. They could have had another point, maybe a goal there. Perhaps the goal should have been on. Heslin comes and catches this one, gets the mark. That mark has certainly added something to Gaelic football this year. Makes sure that he's able to retain the possession, not haul down immediately, and there's a continuity in the play as a result. Eoghan. Plenty of Dublin players back there. Heslin once again involved, hitting it from 45 metres out. Can't quite measure it as he wanted to. It's a third wide by Westmeath. 6 between them.
Yeah, they need to score badly, Jared. Again, slow and ponderous build-up, which means Dublin have plenty of players back, and you've Westmeath shooting from 45 metres, and again another wide.
Darren Daly. Even though we all anticipated it would be something like this, there's a very, very good crowd at Croke Park, 30,000+, I'd imagine. And Eric Lowndes sets it up, and it's finished by Rock. Dean Rock's 4th ever championship goal comes after 28 minutes. Eric Lowndes did all the running. Westmeath wide open, no chance for Darren Quinn. 111 to 5 points.
Great finish, unselfish by Eric, straight down the middle. Probably could have had a chance himself, but it was a certain goal if he gave it to Rock, and that's what happened. We talked about Westmeath, Jared, and what they could do and what they're not doing, but I think we have to stand back as well and just admire this Dublin team. They're just so impressive in defence and in attack. It's up to the rest of the country to get up to this level. We're continuously saying what's going to happen. That's their team. It's up to someone to come and beat them.
You're absolutely right, because just coming towards today's game, you knew very well that, and he knew very well, Tom McCribbin, that Dublin teams under Jim Gavin, or any Dublin manager, they don't take it handily with any opposition. They approach every opponent as though it were an opponent in an All-Ireland final, capable of beating them, and they weren't going to be beaten today if at all possible. And that was well set up, and Westmeath simply carved open. They're happy. Once again, the kick out into the middle. Once again, there's a double and take. Johnny Cooper out as far as Niall Scully. Well, it wasn't going so badly up to a quarter of an hour. It was about 6-4 at that stage. Kieran Martin. Mark McCallan now. Kicking it forward, hoping that Heslin will be able to get the measure of about 4 Dublin defenders. And Jack McCaffrey, sprightly as ever. And he's still going forward, McCaffrey. Niall Scully now from Sink Street, Temple Oak. Opening it out here towards Paddy Andrews. Goes a second time against Killian Daly. Daly trying to shepherd him out of the danger zone. Callum McCormack can't get to him. Daly goes again, it does well. He's a good Tigerish defender, this 22-year-old. He can be pleased with his work in the first half of this match. Back out to John Eoghan. Score of 2 points already. On his shoulder is James Dolan. Ignores him. Goes to Sharry instead. Ciaran Martin. Towards Heslin. Much better ball this time. Much better work overall. But it doesn't produce the score. What a shame.
Again, it's promising. You know, they're letting the ball in early. Heslin's running it, although he's double teaming. But I think, you know, going forward, they have to maybe more direct and more quicker with the ball.
Since their last score, nearly 10 minutes. Scully back to Cooper. Paddy Andrews now. James McCarthy. Darren Daly bouncing in front of Ciaran Kilkenny. Sure, some of the players on the Dublin bench will be hoping they get half a game here. Options available for Jim Gavin and the management team. They want to reach this year's Leinster final. Bear in mind the Dubs are going for 7 in a row in Leinster, 12 in 13 years. McCaffrey takes a return and the referee deciding to bring play back.
Yeah, I think it was just a throw ball there by James McCarthy, but it's important for us, mate, going forward. You know, they know probably more likely they were going to the qualifiers after this match, so it's about getting a system of play right that suits them. You know, obviously they came in with a plan here today, Ciaran, and it hasn't worked, so it's about how they change that for going forward now.
Callum McCormack. And Sharry is having difficulty holding on to it. And you can see Darren Daly is trying to make the very most of this opportunity, a rare opportunity to start a championship match for Dublin, just to show the management exactly what he's capable of doing. Ciaran Kilkenny. Conor Callaghan, 3 points so far. Fenton's been busy. Scully likewise, taken down. Player who fouled him there, Ganud. Jamie Ganud just getting a hand around Niall Scully.
Yeah, I think we spoke earlier on, Ciaran, about, you know, Westmeath and what they can do and how professional Dublin are, but you have to remember, like, Dublin today, they have the likes of Dennis Bastick, Bernard Brogan, you know, Paul Flynn, Ona Garrett on the bench, so those guys out there are fighting for their jersey. You know, they don't care whether it's Westmeath or who it is. You know, they want to be playing in Leinster finals and All-Ireland quarter-finals, so it's about putting their best foot forward today.
1-3 so far already for Dean Rock. Easy free. Keeps getting better. Bernard Brogan and Kevin McManamon there in conversation, hoping they might get a few minutes. Ball thumped out into the middle. This time it's fisted down by Ciaran Martin, but the usual result, a Dublin player picks it up, Mick Fitzsimons. Cross as far as McCaffrey. Held on to somehow by Kilkenny. Ciaran Kilkenny. Andrews comes out to meet him. Different angled runs. Fenton just holding. Darren Daly. Close to the half-time break, about a minute to go. Westmeath will be glad of the respite. Johnny Cooper. Little overlap now with Mick Fitzsimons from Coola involved. Pushing it back in here towards Paul Mannion, and Mannion completes an excellent move. So much to enthuse about in Dublin's football.
It's just great to watch, Ciaran. You know, I know the quality of opposition and what have you, but just their movement and their speed of thought, and it's a specific, the way they're doing it, Ciaran, they're just holding on possession, switching from side to side to make sure they get the right man on the ball. You know, that's definitely planning for down the line when they meet better teams.
They're just winning everything, showing brilliant appetite and attitude. Anxious for another Leinster win. Fenton, Kildare wait in the final, of course, in 3 weeks' time. Fitzsimons starting inside, back out as far as Ciaran Kilkenny again, and the referee deciding there wasn't an advantage. Bringing it back, it's not going to count. Or is it? It is.
Yeah, I think there's a loud advantage there, yeah.
2 minutes of additional time. 113 to 5 points, and Kieran Martin being spoken to. So another yellow card in the offing. That's 2 yellow cards.
You know, Joe, we know how much time and effort players put into things. What do you do now in the dressing room? You know, when you're Tom Cribben, when you go in there and you try to lift your players, you know, when you're looking at the scoreboard, you know, just so difficult, and you know, you have to feel for Westmeath at this time.
Well, Dublin at this stage have already scored a goal and 5 without reply. Brian Fenton. Rock coming in, and this time the referee decides it's got to be a free against him. Westmeath absolutely overwhelmed in the opening 36 minutes of this match, behind by 114 to 5 points. Not so much All Blacks and Lions here, more Lions and Christians. Killian Daly. Back towards Mark McCallum. Maguire now. One last attack perhaps before the half-time whistle will sound. Paul Sharry. Chance to advance. Rather difficult. John Eoghan losing it. And Dublin easily winning it back. Niall Scully. Once again moving with menace here. Scully hasn't yet scored. Here's his chance maybe, laying it off instead here. Generously giving it off to Paul Mannion, and Mannion has got a third. The half-time whistle has sounded here, and Dublin would look to have the job well and truly completed already. Dean Rock with a goal and 4 points. Goal coming after 28 minutes following a very good run by Eric Lowndes. Paul Mannion has been in fine fettle as well.
Canning and Kevin Cassidy.
Thank you, Michael. A couple of changes we've noted. Perhaps there are more, but they've just run out in the last few seconds. Noel Mulligan has certainly come on for Westmeath, number 23. And I've seen Eoghan O'Gara come on as well. Yes, it's Andrews is gone. Second half underway. So Eoghan, the one who has been replaced by Mulligan, public address announcer informs us all. So 13 points between the teams. I think it really is just a case of Kevin enjoying the football on offer.
Yeah, we have to, you know, admire the Dublin outfit and how they defend and attack, but for Westmeath it's just really about, you know, fixing things going forward and trying to improve as they head towards the qualifiers.
Down into the corner it comes, this time to Mark McCallum from Gary Castle. That is Desi Dolan's club. Desi honoured, as you saw during the half-time break. Hall of Fame by the Leinster Council, fully deserved. Francis Boyle in along the end line, but to nobody in particular. His target was Heslin. Heslin's on the ground, still on the ground. Dublin can break with Niall Scully up as far as Ciaran Kilkenny. Got 2 points in the first half, might have had a third. O'Gara came on for Paddy Andrews. Meanwhile, it is Brian Fenton locating Ciaran Kilkenny. Now Dean Rock, goal scorer in the first half. Darren Daly was setting this one up as for Paul Mannion. Mannion kicking with assurance off the post. Ball very obligingly going in off the left-hand upright for his 4th point of this match, and the first of the second half.
Fantastic score by Paul. He's really on fire today himself, and Dean Rock up front, you know. But I suppose that the ease with what he turns and just slots the ball over the bar, you know, Westmeath can't be happy with that kind of space.
Well, Dublin have had one of those seasons where they drew 3 matches in the Alliance League, lost the final, then had Carlow, as you know, a couple of weeks ago from Division 4 in the opening round of Leinster, meeting another now promoted Division 4 side in the semi-final. So they're building up, they're cranking up, and we know they will be in fine fettle come the Leinster final and beyond. James McCarthy back here as far as Darren Daly. Collected by Ciaran Kilkenny. Mannion now going for another one. What brilliant accuracy. Superb work, 2 in a row.
Just too easy now at the minute, Jared. But you know, one thing about Dublin, once again gain possession, they hold on until the whole team are ready to attack with them. You know, they've been caught in the past, I suppose, running down blind alleys and that, but you know, the system of play they're adopting today is just that they're waiting, posing, probing until they find the right man, and today is Paul Mannion.
Mark McCallum. James Dolan again. McCallum able to push it through. Collected by Dolan. Heslin, score of just 1 point so far. Difficult for him to do anything. He's so marked by so many bodies back there in the blue of Dublin. And they managed to win it back once again. Noel Mulligan at the thick of that one. Mulligan who played in the 2 matches against Offaly. 2 contrasting games. That first one they could easily have lost to Offaly the first day, finished 10 points apiece. They came good in the last quarter of the replay. Ian O'Sullivan moving away following the concession of the free kick. So it gives John Heslin an opportunity of getting his second point and Westmeath's first of the second half. He will be 25 on Tuesday next. Real quality player, number 14, John Heslin. And he takes his time and plants it safely over the crossbar. So 1 more for Tom Cribben's team. Well, as the panel were saying at half-time, Kevin, really, he was caught between a rock and a hard place. You know, he was being encouraged to go and have a real go. In other words, open up and just take the game to Dublin. But when you do that, you saw what happens.
It's hard to know what to do, but you know, credit to them, they are having a go. They're not swamping, you know, defence, and they haven't 2 and 3 sweepers back. But it's just so hard playing against these Dublin players because they're just so good and they're so well coached at what they do.
Ciaran Kilkenny, ever mobile, dishing it off here as far as McCaffrey. We know what he can do, and right now we're watching Niall Scully lay it off inside for Rock. And as he was going in, an arm came in, restraining Dean Rock. Down he went. Referee had no hesitation.
Yeah, just good direct run again by Niall Scully, who's been quite impressive today in the forward line. But you know, from a Dublin point of view, you have to be impressed by, you know, the unselfishness of them. I think that's what sets them apart from other teams. You know, they give it to the right man in the right position at all times.
And the work ethic is so impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Dean Rock, 1-4 so far. So 1-5 for the 27-year-old from Ballymon Kickham's. 5 minutes into the second half. Fans just sitting back here, mostly Dublin fans, just being entertained in a crowd of over 33,000 at Croke Park. Eoghan, captain of this Westmeath team once again this year, cutting inside, looking for a support player. It's Mark McCallum. Being given a little bit of room here now, and Martin can crack one over from here and does so. A third for Kieran Martin. Well, they got 10 points last year, up on 7 at this early stage in the second half.
Yeah, it's important to just keep tipping away. You know, they have some fantastic players, you know, the likes of Sherry and Martin, Heslin, Dolan, so you know, they can't get too bogged down by the performance of Dublin. They have to worry about themselves.
Well, that was a mark by Ciaran Kilkenny before he was ever fouled by Mark McCallum. The referee's brought the ball forward anyway. Niall Scully, a lot of kicking inside. That's brilliantly taken by O'Gara. Doesn't need a second invitation to crack home his 7th ever championship goal. Only on the park since half-time. Caught it splendidly and powerfully unleashed that right foot drive in past Darren Quinn. It's 2-18 to 7 points.
Excellent score. Listen, I don't care Division 4, Silver, but that's football at its best. You know, great take, one turn and bang, roof of the net. So, you know, fantastic for neutrals to watch, but I suppose not so good if you're from Westmeath.
Well, Jerry Eoghan and his colleagues will keep on battling, well aware of their fate, and they will be in the draw for the next stage of the qualifiers, round 2. That'll be on Morning Ireland tomorrow morning, RT Radio 1, just after the 8:30 news headlines. John Heslin against Cian O'Sullivan. Dropped it short. Cluxton's has had an easy time so far. The energy being displayed by the likes of Ciaran Kilkenny is quite staggering. Here he is again. Number of times he gets his hands on the ball, makes things happen for this team. Dean Rock again kicking it long. Why not when you have a player like O'Gara in there? It's another variation in the way in which Dublin can approach their attacks by putting in a man. He's a different type of target man from Con O'Callaghan, who's a younger lad, strongly built man in there, O'Gara.
Yeah, it's just another variation to their playing. I know that when he went on against Kerry and Donegal in recent times, he has caused bother in that full back line, but you just look at the talent that's there. You know, you're talking about your Brogans, your Connolly's to come in, your Flynn's to come in, McCauley's, McManamon. You know, the strength and depth is just astonishing.
Shane Carty has come on, David Byrne's come on, and Mick Fitzsimons and Johnny Cooper both taken off. Lands down here on David Byrne. Second time of asking, manages to get his hands on it. Back to Fenton. Good vision. Good awareness to see where Niall Scully was. Back into Jack McCaffrey. Turn back to Kilkenny once again. Well, what is very nice, I think, about Dublin today is they're not showboating. They're going about their business, and if it means the ruthless destruction of Westmeath, so be it. They're in a contest, and they're going for it. And David Byrne wants to win his place as a starting 15er. Showed too much of that, however. Showed it to Mark McCallan, then fouled McCallan.
I think that's what makes them so special, Ger, is just their ultra-professional approach. I think that's down to Jim Galvin and the mentality he instills in his players and his squad members.
Yeah, Jim is a calm, courteous man as manager, but he's always completely respectful of opponents, and he's not just going to hang back, and his team's not just going to hang back. And they will entertain the fans as well. They paid good money to come in here. Paul Sharry. That was O'Gara coming back. Connected with Sharry.
A big hit there, Ger. I think he just was lucky because I think he fouled the ball twice before he got the hit, but yeah, I suppose a fair hit from Paul.
And there's going to be a booking for O'Gara to go with the goal he got after 42 minutes. Yellow card. I think that's the first of the Dublin players to get a yellow card in this game. So 2 from Westmeath booked before the half-time break. Paul Sharry, who actually made his debut against Dublin back in 2009. Well, now it's going to be the turn of Kevin McManamon very, very shortly, and one Bernard Brogan as well. It doesn't get any easier. Here's Kieran Martin taking on Davy Byrne. Back nicely as far as John Eoghan will have been pleased with aspects of the first half, particularly the 2 points he managed to get. Kieran Martin's got 3 so far. Sharry happily recovered. Eoghan just trying to sling the ball around for a while, get a few passes going together, get a bit of confidence going. Not easy when you're 18 to 7 points down. Referee gives an advantage to Jerry Eoghan. Nothing's going to come of it, so he's going to bring it back.
Yeah, he gave the advance, but nothing came, Gerard. I think going forward for Westmeath, you know, they've probably Ciaran Martin and John Heston, two forwards who'd probably get into any team in the country, you know, on their day. So, you know, I would like to see them play more, you know, closer to goal and to have a go at Dublin the last 15-20 minutes to see what they really have.
Bernard Brogan's on, big cheer for him, coming on for his 55th championship match. And off goes Dean Rock. And the other change is going to see Niall Scully make way, and Kevin McManamon join the fray. Free kick to Westmeath. John Heslin pointed a free a little while ago for them. This should be their 8th point of the match. So 3 for Heslin.
I was reading an article today, Gerard, about teams preparing to play Dublin, and I think Aidan O'Brien from Wexford, he said not alone do they have the plan for the first 15, but also the 6 or 7 who may come off the bench. You know, so you can just that just gives you an idea of the task that are faced with the likes of Westmeath and Wexford.
Well, they have a wealth of talent, a wonderful group of players, and behind the 30 or so panel that he's got, you can think of the next 30 who'd love to be in the Dublin panel as well. It helps if your population is 1.35 million against a population of 90,000 in Westmeath. They were going this way and that, and finally the ball was fouled, and there was a foul anyway by Paul Mannion. Did he try to trip the opponent, I wonder? Just a little bit of concern for him. He's got 5 points in the match so far. That was a nothing situation there. Maybe just a lapse of concentration. And a yellow card for him. Westmeath are going to make another change. Kelvin Riley is the one who's going to come on. Off goes Callum McCormack. Kelvin played in both of the matches against Offaly. Contrasting weather conditions in those 2 weekends, I can tell you. After the intense heat of last weekend, they played on the Saturday. Right now living dangerously in their own backline. Finally, it's Frank Boyle. Came on after 6 minutes in the replay against Offaly for Paddy Holloway. I have to wish Paddy the very best. He's got a cruciate injury, out for a while. This is where that challenge came in there, and don't forget that Eoghan has already been yellow carded, so you wouldn't want to be pushing players around like that. Jamie Ganoud back as far as Paul Sharry. Ganoud again. This is Kelvin Riley. Suddenly in the clear, the referee is allowing an advantage. Will it work out for them? 5 seconds has elapsed at this stage. It's back once again. Riley. Oh, well done by Cluxton. 2 men on him. Got it away. Out to Bernard Brogan. Intercepted. In came Ciaran Martin. Free kick. That was a dangerous moment for Dublin. Cluxton required.
Yeah, high ball in there. I suppose Bernard Brogan giving away the ball, that's not where you want Bernard Brogan to be from a Dublin point of view. But you know, it's credit to Dublin, even though they are so much ahead, they're still getting their defensive shape. They had Ciaran Sullivan and Ciaran Kilkenny back. There's double sweeper system there, even though they're 16 points up, so they're clearly working to a plan going forward.
Cormac Riley has come on in place of Killian Daly, who was injured in the first half and excelled with some wonderful blocks and covering moments. Heslin from 20 metres wide in front of goal. It's a 4th for him. So 9 points. As I mentioned earlier, they got 10 points last year. This was Cluxton coming out very decisively, fisting it away there, keeping it out from Noel Mulligan in particular. Anxious to keep his goal intact. In the last 6 meetings against Westmeath, there's only been 1 goal conceded, and that was by Michael Ennis in 2008. And the last player in the Leinster Championship to score a goal from play was Stephen Atright against Dublin last year in the Leinster quarter-final. He got another goal that day as well, but it was from a penalty by Paul Cahalane. So since their last score, 10 minutes, bit of a crisis for Dublin. So they will come again, fresh energy. Kevin McManamon involved. Punching it in, Bernard Brogan, O'Gara going for a second. Back to Bernard Brogan, and O'Gara finally would have been happy with a point, but he's going to get nothing for his troubles.
Fantastic block down, Jerry. Again, just the speed of thought and the speed of hands from the Dublin forward line, and they're giving it to the right man all the time, which is just, you know, it's highly impressive to watch.
Westmeath with another one. Don Eoghan is going off, and Shane Corcoran is the one coming on, number 24. That's their 4th sub. Well, at this stage, midway through the second half, the coach may as well give players more experience of playing in this Leinster semi-final. That's another poor kick out. That's something they're going to have to address before they hit the qualifiers, I think. Hasn't worked out for them today. Cian O'Sullivan able to press forward. Brian Fenton, for a couple of great years, dominating things in the middle of the park for Dublin, giving them great direction. Down he went. O'Gara comes, strong, ruggedly built, the ever-mobile Kilkenny. There are too many Westmeath players all around him. Suddenly there are so many Westmeath players back, only 2 inside the Dublin 65-metre line. Sharry looks up, only sees one player who's totally marked by 2 Dublin defenders, has to hold. Picking it up is Ganood. Eoghan managing to get a little bit of space, get away from his immediate marker, who's Shane Carty. Lobbed in here, Heslin going for it, trying to get a fist onto it. Too many Dublin players there, however, and it's Eric Lowndes who emerges with it. More and more an established player this season. Jack McCaffrey. Booted ahead by Fenton. Into space goes Kilkenny. A couple of danger men waiting inside. He wants to use them. Goes for it himself. Why not? 3 for him. That's the first of the second half. But he had Bernard broken, and he had O'Gara waiting inside.
I think he wants a score or 2 to his name. But that score came from Gerard just watching. Even though it was Dublin are so far ahead, Eric Lowndes identified that Heslin was one-on-one inside. He dropped back, played the sweeper, he won the ball, and ultimately carried it all the way and set up the score.
That time Eoghan was impeded. Jamie Ganood, Sigerson Cup player in the past with UCD. Mark McCallum. James Dolan. Here's Cormac Boyle, getting his hands on the ball since recently coming on as a substitute. Eoghan, 2 points last year against Dublin. Still haven't managed to match last year's tally. They've conceded a lot more. At this stage of the game, that is. Frank Boyle. Didn't quite work out for Frank. Frank from Kilkenny. Well, he's been one of Tom Cribben's stalwarts over the years. I mean, they've got a very limited senior playing panel available to the management in Westmeath, so they've got to go again in the next week or 2. O'Gara. He's come back from serious injury in the last year or so. Anxious to tell Jim Gavin and everybody else just what he's able to do. We know what Mannion's able to do. He's got 5 points so far, make it 6. Every time he gets in the clear, minimal fuss, real economy of movement on his part.
He's just so skillful, and he's got so much pace. But you know, as a neutral, I'm just delighted to see him going that well, because you know they need him to step up there now. Bernard Brogan's pushing on in years, and you know they're going to need a go-to man up there. And today, Paul Mannion's the man.
Jack McCaffrey back out as far as McManamon. Oh, he'll be looking to score. Eric Lowndes. Way up into the air this time. Well, that one again drifts away to the left-hand side, and Ciaran Kilkenny has to be content with just 3 so far. Dennis Glennon is now coming in. Had been programmed to start. He's coming on in place of Paul Sharry, who didn't have the best of afternoons. It's Glennon's first time to play championship since a qualifier loss to Fermanagh 2 years ago. Off goes Sharry. Glennon's in. One of those who, of course, was a link with the last Westmeath team to beat Dublin back in 2004. What a catch that is by Fenton. Late in the game well won, etc., but he's still doing it in there. Really good catch as well at the back. Very good play by Kelvin Riley. Or rather, it's Noel Mulligan who got to it. James Dolan now. First touch for Dennis Glennon. 33 years of age now, Glennon. Still moves well. Going to drop short. Collected by Cluxton. Shane Carty beginning the next phase of Dublin's attack. Mannion way back there. At this point, various forwards taking turns to be defenders, and defenders getting up to try and get a score or two. McCaffrey, only 23 years of age, won his Footballer of the Year title when he was a mere 21. That one, it's Conor Callaghan, again drops short, this time into the hands of Darren Quinn. Kieran Martin certainly is one who hasn't let the side down this afternoon, but it's been a thankless effort really. They just wave after wave of Dublin attacks. Westmeath have done their best to repulse them as best they can, but it's finger in the dike stuff. Bernard Brogan easily wins it back. Eric Lowndes goes. Carty next. He'd love to score. Very talented player, fine under 21 star, and he gets his point. Shane Carty.
Good score by Shane, you know, coming off the bench. He always wanted to make an impact, and you know, he's got a score to his name, so I suppose he puts his hand up for the next day.
2:21 to 9 points.
What was all the talk coming in, Ger, about this game was, you know, that Kildare were making strides, and you know, they may challenge Dublin in the Leinster final, but in today's viewing, you know, Kildare will have to come up with something very different to beat this Dublin.
Have you reviewed your opinion in that respect?
I certainly have.
Yeah, they've been so impressive, Dublin. Third year in a row that Westmeath have suffered a very, very heavy hammering at the hands of the Dubs in the Leinster final for the last 2 years. There'll be a very, very big crowd here in 3 weeks' time, I'm certain, to see Jim Gavin's team take on Kildare. And in a moment we're going to see Brian Howard come on and make his championship debut. Brian from Raheny, top of Brian Fenton, and of course Ciaran Whelan as well. He's coming on in place of Conor Callaghan. So a big moment for Brian Howard now, coming on to replace Conor Callaghan, who got 3 points in the first half. But it's nice to... Oh, that little fellow, he'll remember it, won't he? But it's nice to be able to bring on a young player to give him a championship start. Beautiful play. Back to Kilkenny. Down he went, 2 men after him. That was pretty decisive and intentional. Now the question is, what kind of card is the referee, Conor Lane, going to issue here? Well, there was only one hand used. He'd probably get away with... doesn't even get a card, in fact.
It's safe enough, yeah.
Bernard Brogan to score. 1 point from a free then for Bernard Brogan to increase his own personal tally. He's now got 22 goals and 89 points in championship football. This kick out is going to work out, I think, and it's a mark, or should be, for Eoghan. I think that's the first one they've had from a kick out that I can remember.
Yeah, if we are going to be critical, the one thing from Westmeath, it's just the kickouts today. It really killed them in the first half, especially, Ger. They gave away possession time and time again. And you just can't do that against Dublin.
Kelvin Riley. Chased and pursued vigorously by Paul Mannion. They're not going to give up. They're not going to let Westmeath even try to get into the game at this very late stage. They're going to try and pin them back as best they can. But Dennis Glennon, two men chasing after him. Down towards Ciaran Martin. Missed initially, but then David Byrne goes back. Played in the drawn All-Ireland final, lost his place for the replay. And he's anxious to remind Jim Gavin again just what he's able to do. And don't forget Philly McMahon has to come back into that back line as well yet. So much talent available.
I forgot about him even, Ger.
Fascinating season ahead of us. Not quite at the halfway point of it yet. But this is the end of the semi-finals for the provincial championships anyway. Trophies handed out from next Sunday. Munster football final, Leinster hurling final live on the Sunday game here on RTE. That's beautifully in. Cracked well, but again inaccurately so by O'Gara. Very well now since he scored his goal back in the 42nd minute. Nine minutes remaining. Shane Corcoran. Difficult ball for the Westmeath player to take. Then Frank Boyle. Frank, who started in the qualifiers with Westmeath 11 years ago against London. Ganood down as far as Dennis Glennon. Swiftly off to Corcoran. Jamie Ganood once again, beautifully in as far as Heslin. Now can he get another point here for Westmeath? Into the maze, into a cul-de-sac, and it's turned over all too terribly easily. And it comes out to Shane Carty. And Dublin can go again and torment that Westmeath rear guard. They've got a player down with a cramp as Mannion advances with menace, with purpose, with accuracy. He's got a seventh. What a performance, even on a team overwhelmingly better than the opposition.
Great showing with Paul Mannion. Just serious pace and serious self-belief, you know. And as I say, it's just great to see him put in a consistent performance. The key for him now is to do it back-to-back in the Leinster final.
It's Alan Stone, number 8, and he's their 6th substitute. They're going off there. He had a cramp just a moment ago. Was David Lynch from the St. Malachy's club. So Stone was picked to play in midfield. Played last year. Here he is straight away getting his hands on the ball. Not able to keep it in play. He was one of the two sweepers they used in last year's defensive system, the other being Callum McCormack. And up to half-time it worked. They were just 7-6 down at the break. This time it could get worse. And another one. Mannion's got 8. Rarely have I seen a forward at this stage of the season looking so sharp, so decisive, irrespective of the opposition. Just needs a glance at the goal and bang, over the bar. Brilliant.
Terrific form, Ger. I think, to be honest, we're seeing a bit of a backlash today from Dublin. You know, the last week or two, it's all about, you know, people looking for chinks in the armour, and they're not as good as they were, and they're on the way down. I think this is Jim Gavin and his players saying that we're very much here, we're not going anywhere.
They're 21 points ahead, and they're not finished yet. Free kick. Kevin McManamon from St. Jude's in Dublin. Going to lead this one, I think. Brogan kicks it all the way back to Jack McCaffrey as we watch the replay of this. And the referee dishing out the card. That's Noel Mulligan's face, I think. And he's got a black card for that. So they will finish with Mulligan going off. And they'll finish with 14 players on the field. They've used their 6 subs. Jack McCaffrey, back from Brogan. McCaffrey, look at the post. Thank you very much indeed. He hadn't scored today, so he needed a point.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what he's telling himself.
But again, it's just the right man. He's given the ball, you know. other teams, when the game's over, people mightn't go for their shots and want to get their name in the scoreboard, but Dublin stick to the game plan. They just get the ball to the right man, and the damage is done.
Their decision making is superb, isn't it?
It's fantastic. It's a credit to them. And any young team watching, that's the way to play football. That's the level you have to get to.
And they dedicate their lives, and they're very level-headed young players as well, from what I've seen of them and heard of them. And the feet are on the ground. They're well-grounded young men. And 6 days a week they are training to be this good. Yeah,
do you know what? I think we have a habit in this country of looking for a downfall and looking, for, as we say, chinks in the armour. But I think we just stand back and admire these guys, because they're given so much, and they're setting the bar. It's up to everybody else to get up to that level.
Absolutely. Shane Corcoran leaving it for Eoghan to put this one in high, and it comes off the post and goes over the bar. And they have equalled their tally of last year, 10 points, with Eoghan's only score of the match coming as it does in the 68th minute. Out as far as Jack McCaffrey. Shane Carty. Brian Howard leaving it in for McCaffrey. Howard again. Into Bernard Brogan, player he would have stood back and admired from the terraces in the past. Now he's playing alongside him. He gave him the pass, and Bernard Brogan was able to finish it. Second point for him.
In fairness to Bernard, he's looking sharp as well. He's coming into form at the right time. He's putting his hands up for a place in the
what
final.
About Paul Flynn? We haven't mentioned him either, Kevin.
Or Michael Darragh-McCauley,
exactly.
Or man. So, they just have such an amazing panel. But it's very hard to see Emily competing this year if they keep this form up.
Well, they can only have 15 on the park at any one time.
That must be difficult for Jim Gavin to know which is actually his best 15.
Keep them all happy.
Yeah.
Kevin McManamon will be happy if he can finish this one. He bounced it twice. Free out. Think about Kevin McManamon. Do you start him? Is he better as a sub coming on? He's scored so many influential goals and important goals in the past coming from the subs bench.
Yeah, it's a tough tag to carry, because if you started, then people are saying you're better to come off the bench, and every player wants to start.
He hates it.
Yeah, every player wants to start. Nobody wants to be an impact sub, but unfortunately for him, he's excellent at it.
Ganoud down towards Haslam against James McCarthy, who's gone back to full-back for a while, and Haslam has drawn this one away to the left-hand side. For the record, that is wide number 6. Dublin had 6 wides as well in the game, but a lot more accuracy and far more chances. And they're looking like the Leinster and All-Ireland champions we know them to be. Owen O'Gara. But the second of Dublin's goals. Mannion, or rather it's Kilkenny, and Kilkenny belts it! There's the third goal. 70 minutes are gone. His first ever championship goal. Took it in his stride. Look at that face, look at the eyes, the decisiveness, the determination, and he belted it home past Darren Quinn. 3:16, 3:26 to 10 points.
Yeah, just sheer determination from Ciaran there. Again, Dublin, once they smell blood, they just go for you. That's an incredible asset to have for any team to go forward.
It's quite a mauling, 25 points the difference. And Kilkenny again, 1-3 to his name here. McManamon happy just to tap it over. Gets one. 5 minutes of additional time being played. Value for money for the customers. Torment for Westmeath, I would imagine, and their fans.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be. They're just praying for the final whistle at this stage, and just get back to training next week and kind of hope for a favourable draw and see who takes them.
Not too many teams, certainly outside of Division 1 and maybe the top of Division 2, could live with Dublin in this kind of form, I think.
Definitely not. The argument will be made tomorrow, why didn't Tom Kilburn go ultra defensive, but we've seen that last year and the year before. It just doesn't work. It worked for a certain period of time, but ultimately Dublin will just pull away, and at least Westmeath didn't set up that today. I know they got beat well, but sure.
Eoghan not making any headway with that one. Comes down instead for James McCarthy. Another 3.5 minutes to play. Is there another score there? Certainly Eoghan would like to think so. As he ventures forward, ball handled on the ground. Westmeath have it back, and Eoghan in particular. Playing it out here for Kelvin Riley. Shane Corcoran. Eoghan again. Is Jamie Ganood. Laid off as far as James Dolan. James looked quite disgusted with himself as that one failed to hit or went anywhere near the target. Instead, it's Eric Lowndes. Shane Carty. McManamon pushed in towards Brogan. Thought about giving a return, gives it instead to Fenton, and that's beautifully over. Point in each half for Brian Fenton.
Important for Dublin going forward. Fenton's back to himself today. You know, he's dominant in the air and he's kicked 2 fantastic scores. So, you know, Dublin need him at his best going forward.
It's business as usual, Kevin, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Ciaran Kilkenny, the amount of effort that he has put in today, the ground he has covered. We talk in terms of running about 11 kilometres or so in the course of a match. And he looks weary at this stage out of shot, I can tell you. Bernard Brogan, plenty of life in him. Beautifully into Carty. Well, he's now got 2. Second half sub. Very simple, very efficient. 329 to 10 points. Well, it's a 28-point difference. It's quite a difference. Great catch, brilliantly done. That was Howard. This is O'Gara. McManamon! Oh, yes! Another for Kevin McManamon, his 8th ever. Finishes with a goal and a point here. 4:29 to 10 points. Still another 60 seconds to play. I think most neutrals are probably saying, whistle it up, referee. Take Westmeath out of their torment.
Yeah, it's just ruthless. They're just, you know, severely ruthless, and you know, for them, that's exactly where they want to be. And I think they've sent a statement out here today. You know, we spoke about people looking for downfalls and looking for a dip in their form. They're saying here, we're here to stay here. And you know, you just seen that finish from Kevin McManamon, which is emphatic.
Truthfully, we were saying, Kevin, before the match, if Westmeath got within about 10 points, they'd be doing pretty well. Only in the first 15 minutes, John Heslin skies another one away to the left-hand side.
You know what, Jerry, you're talking about Westmeath in Division 4, but it doesn't matter. You put a Kerry out there today, or you put a McManamon or a Tyrone, I don't think they'll do that much damage. You know, so you have to be impressed by Dublin's overall play.
Well, they've been most impressive. Once again, Howard on as far as Eric Lowndes. More danger here, more problems. This time Darren Quinn copes with it, and the referee has mercifully blown the full-time whistle from a Westmeath point of view. It was some display by Dublin. Jim Gavin must be very, very pleased, very satisfied. Any questions or doubts there might have been following the Carlow match, well and truly answered here in Croke Park in this Leinster semi-final. They're en route for another final. He has a little word with Tom Cribben, the opposing manager, but today it was all about the Dubs. They got down to business from an early stage, and they finished very, very convincing victors. It's finished at Croke Park, Dublin 4-29, Westmeath 10 points. So I think that is about a 31